Hello everyone, Matthew97657 here, and today we are back with yet another figure unboxing and review. And as the title and thumbnail suggests, this is going to be the Bandai Limited Movie Monster Series Godzilla Store exclusive Titanosaurus from the 1975 film Terror Godzilla. So, with that being said, nothing more to it, then again, we're right on into it. And alas, we have our very small box here, just one small Bandai figure to encompass today's video. Nothing too crazy. Compared to some of the other videos that we have had in the past. But a Bandai figure is never a bad review, right? It's very simple, but it gets the job done in terms of me recording this and for the figure itself. So very, very, very good on both ends. So I believe that's what they call a win-win, right? So here we go. Very small little box here, nothing too crazy. Let you guys get the first look. There's the unwrapping. And here we are. It was upside down. Here we are. It was upside down. And then there is my information that should not be open. But regardless, more importantly, right? Oh, wow. Okay. So more importantly, here is the figure. I'm going to pan it up just a little bit. There we are. So we can see it on head level there. Here is the Titanosaurus here. Straight off from the tag, Titanosaurus 2023, because it did come out last year for the folks in Japan. And what did it say? Movie Monster Series? Nope, just Titanosaurus. The Japanese insides that I cannot read or translate, so my apologies. Terror of Mechagodzilla, and then Bandai Movie Monster Series Titanosaurus. So, I mean, honestly, like, it's just Titanosaurus here, and oh man, it's, you know, it's kind of hard to fathom having one of these in my collection, because Titanosaurus is definitely one of the lesser known kaiju, I would say. And as you can see, the design is actually insanely well done on this figure. This is actually a really, really, really good Bandai. I know I don't reference that enough whenever it does happen, but the paint and the sculpt look absolutely great, hence probably the upcharge on the figure itself. But I mean, enough of me, right? Just look at it and decide for yourself. So we have this very, very nice kind of like deep red. It's like deep red, but it looks brown. Just kind of what you'd expect from the Titanosaurus suit, but there's a lot of paint going on here, right? We have the eyes there, the yellow eye there, and then even then we have the paint, this kind of gold paint kind of seaming down, and then we have more of the continuation of that color scheme. It goes kind of brighter red, and then it goes all the way up to the horns and to the little, I would assume, ears perhaps, and then you even get some darker colorations on the tips of the horn there. That's not a shadow, that is definitely the paint. But even then, the kind of like frill here that we're working with down here is all well done. You know, it starts with that reddish, as you can see there, and then it kind of goes towards that pale beige, if I had to give that a description. Same with the tail right here as well. You can see the red and then the beige coming up there. So very nicely well painted. And even on the body, you can see the kind of different paint apps. You can kind of see that yellowish, and then it kind of comes back to a brighter red. If I had to describe the yellow, it's kind of like a mustard yellow. Not to say that's bad, but I think it works really well with this figure. As you can see, it goes all the way from the tail up to about above the arm there towards the neck. And even on the neck, you can see a little bit of paint apps on there. I mean, gold paint apps here. There's a lot of just kind of like splotches of paint apps. And when I mean splotches, I don't mean that in a negative way. I think it's actually in a very positive way of how they did this figure's paint applications, especially trying to recreate that Titanosaurus suit coloration, right? At least on the front end, we do have the kind of like abdomen and the neck where it does have that very shiny kind of metallic-y gold. Not like shiny, but it definitely does reflect off the light, which is very nice. It's nice and subtle, but it still looks great with that gold. And it goes all the way toward the end of the tail there, and then it kind of just seams off. And I mean, besides that, the mold itself looks really good. It even has a lot of these kind of like accented skin pores, if you would want to call them that. They are, it's not just like leveled. They do have some elevation to them, so it does feel very nice as well. It does feel like a very scaly type of texture, right? Besides that, the feet, I don't want to forget the leg in the lower region. So kind of that same paint app there. Very, very nice. You can see kind of the mix of the yellow and the kind of pinkish red. But realistically, that's really about it. I mean, that is Titanosaurus there. This is technically a limited version of Movie Monster series that they tend to do every once in a while, but realistically, it's just like the monster. But regardless, before I continue that thought, let's go ahead and do the articulation. I was just so amazed when I took it out. I completely bypassed that. So, I mean, you know, Bandai-wise, you're not going to get nothing crazy. So it looks like you do have a little bit of a head swivel there. And then on the arms here, right, we do have a full 360. Kind of gets caught up on the thigh there, but you can do a full 360. We're going to move up the arms for the thigh piece here. And it looks like we can get a full 360 on the legs as well. The tail does have a seam there, but there's no kind of like moving it or wiggling it. And then there is no double flap. It's just the one flap here. So very, very cool. I actually am insanely impressed with this. It definitely took me a while to get because they had it on the US Godzilla store, sold out, and then they didn't bring it back until like 2 months later. So how the releases work, I don't know. We're still waiting on the 75 Godzilla. But in contrast or comparisons, what we're going to jump into, the closest thing I have is the 73. I know it's not the same suit mold, but it's the closest thing I have in terms of relevancy, simply because they have not put the 75 suit on the Godzilla store United States. So I don't know. I really don't know why they haven't done it, especially since they released this figure. And I think they also they reissued the heavy paint applications Mechagodzilla from that film. So I'm not really too sure, but at least these two look pretty good next to one another. I'm sure the 75 is probably the same size as the, so assuming that would be the 75 suit, they look really good next to one another. So moving on toward the actual 75 movie figs, we do have, this is that heavy paint application version. And I'm not sure if they changed it to 2023, but this is the 21 version. So I didn't double dip. I didn't really see a need to. But looking at it here, we can definitely see that Titanosaurus does stand a little bit taller compared towards Mechagodzilla here, which I'm not sure if it's even accurate. I haven't seen Terror of Mechagodzilla in maybe like a year and a half. It's been a little bit of time, but definitely still nice to have this form of set with one another, because it's definitely a good film, a lot of good kaiju action, as well as the kind of cyborg human plot as well. So very enjoyable. I'm not going to say it's underrated, because I think people appreciate it more, especially nowadays, but it's still a good film nonetheless, so give it a watch. For our last comparison, we're going to go ahead and jump to the teal Mechagodzilla, or I forgot exactly what it was called, but it is this kind of teal coloration. So we're going to go ahead and do the same comparison. I believe it's the same mold as the heavy paint application version we just went through. So nothing too crazy there, but I guess if you want to have the crazy colors with the suit accurate colors, you can do that. I personally won't. I might as well just use the heavy paint version, which is, I guess, technically what the figure is, and then have that next to one another. So with that being said, that's really about it. A shame I don't have the 75 Godzilla mold, but they have not released it, at least in the United States Godzilla store. And honestly, I'm probably going to import it by the end of the month with all the other Bandai limited figures that they have been releasing. So, I mean, we'll get there when we get there, right? So with that being said, final thoughts on this one. Definitely a very, very nice figure. It's definitely on the pricier side for a Bandai figure, but truth be told, for Titanosaurus, if you are a fan of this kaiju, I think it's a definitive pickup, if I'm being completely honest. Not sponsored in any way. I think it's a definitive pickup only because it's a very nice size, right? You have your 6-inch Bandai scale. It's relatively affordable. I want to say it's about $34 or $36 in the US Godzilla store plus the shipping. It's going to put you around $44, give or take. But, I mean, how often do we get Titanosaurus merchandise? That's the real kind of kick, right? So, if you're a big Titanosaurus fan, I mean, I'm sure you already have this, but if you don't, I at least would recommend this to you, because this is an extremely well-done Bandai figure. irregardless of the limited title. I think it's a very nice figure for any collector out there who's a fan of the film, fan of the kaiju, and fan of the figures. So with that being said, I'm not really sure what video is next in terms of new Godzilla figures that I have coming in. I know the 72 SHMA is coming in next month, apparently in April. Besides that, I really can't think of much else. There's been quite a little bit of other things that I've been focusing on outside of Godzilla, and Toku still in general. But besides that, we're kind of like smooth riding, where like a lot of things are being announced, but not a lot of things are coming out yet. Like, and as of right now, which is March 13th, I think, March 14th. So a lot of things are being shown at us right now, but not a lot of stuff is like coming in. So I mean, we'll get there, right? You know, we will get there when we're gonna be doing a bunch of videos on Monster Arts, Bandai, X Plus, stuff like that. So before we get into all that other stuff, let's go ahead and end off the video here for now. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of this figure. Definitely a very nice figure. If I can't say enough of that, right? But let me know if you guys decide to pick this one up, pass on it. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. See ya!